All right, we're live. I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple people, get this video started, and I'm going to introduce my guest, who I'm very excited to introduce y'all to. So give me about a minute to go ahead and make sure I tag everybody, and then we'll get started.
Great, Elijah. I'm all in.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. Okay, so I got Stephanie, you're getting tagged. And then we got Matt. There we go. We got about 3 more individuals. Chuck and Takanya. Tyler. What's going on, Laura? I see you're here. Go ahead and follow the instructions below the video if you'd like to make any comments, and we'll see them. And to Kanya Harris. Awesome. She says hi already. Hello, hello. It's good to see you here. Kenya. Oops, to Kenya. There we go. Awesome. Beautiful name. What's going on, everybody? You know who it is. It is Elijah Best. I'm the CEO and founder of Vet Boss, and I'm also known as Vet Boss. Let's go. Today, I'm so very, very, very happy to announce we got, go ahead and make sure you guys enter your name so we can see who it is. We got people saying hello, hello, everybody. Yes, let's do this. All right, great. We have an amazing guest today. I'm so honored to share my man, retired Colonel, Army Colonel, Bob McLaughlin, who has served for 29 years in the Army. A lot of shout out, a lot of respect to him. Him and Mount Carmel, they have done so many great things. It's a lot to say. So, Bob, I know you're very humble, but I would like you to go ahead and flex a little bit. Like, tell us a little bit about what you did in the Army, and then just flex a little bit on Mount Carmel, because you guys do so much. It's literally mind-boggling.
No, Elijah, it's a pleasure to be on here, and thanks for everyone for listening to the great passion that Elijah has, and it's just a pleasure to be with you. So a little bit of the story that led to Mount Carmel and my own personal journey. I retired in 2014 and started the center here in Colorado Springs, but kind of what led to that is probably what's most important. I had the honor of serving as a battalion commander in Iraq in 2006 and 2007 during the surge. Those of you who might have been deployed then or understand the significance of that year and the impact it had on our service members and their families. I experienced all the challenges that a commander would be challenged with casualties, fatalities, both on the battlefield and off the battlefield, and the impacts of not just the physical wounds of war, but the invisible wounds of war. And in 2006 and 2007, specifically in the Army, we were just understanding and coming to terms with what it meant to have post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury. And it took a little growth for at every rank for people to understand it and try to help to the best that they could. And frankly, at the time, we really weren't very good at it. Our Wounded Warrior battalions had 80% physical wounds, 20% visible wounds. And by the time I came to Fort Carson after my combat tour as the garrison commander, that was the status of what we were dealing with. 3 years later, it was just the opposite. It was 80% people struggling with combat stress or related challenges. Mm-hmm. So I dove in head first to try to help build resiliency in the force, help try to help our Gold Star families grieve. I don't know if people are in the area, but on Fort Carson, we have a great place called the Fallen Heroes Family Center that helps our Gold Star families. So I had a tremendous experience for 3 years helping soldiers and families be resilient, be strong. I think we were the second post in the Army to actually build the Resiliency Center, Mind, Body, and Spirit. And it was very rewarding for me personally to be able to do that and help out. I had one more deployment in me. I went to Afghanistan as the Chief of Staff of U.S. Forces in 2013, never knowing that I would get out of the operational field and come back into the business of helping people. Local businessman, great veteran, Jay Cimino, gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. He said, Colonel, what do you want to do when you grow up? Help people or make money? And my answer was yes. And he said, I know you want to help people. So he said, when you retire, and oh, by the way, it has to be within the next year. So you notice I stayed for 29 and not 30.
Yeah.
He basically said, look, we got to get on with this. And I know you want to do it. So make a choice. Do you want to stay with your Army career or come out and help people? And at the time I had 5 deployments, and my family was going through the struggles that deployed troops go through. My mother, my God bless us, my wife, was enthusiastic about the opportunity to get off the fast-moving train and start something new. So we did. I turned in my retirement paperwork in 2013 and was back in Colorado Springs later in 2014, starting this adventure. So there's a background that took me here, and I'm proud to be able to take the lessons that I personally learned on active duty and helping people and applying them to veterans here at the Mount Carmel Veteran Service.
Wow.
You want me to talk more about Mount Carmel, Elijah? Or
Please do, because I wanted to say hello to everybody who's saying hello. What's going on, Joe? Please do tell us about Mount Carmel. I heard you just mention the Gold Star program because you guys do a lot. So please, let them know more about it.
So for my experience, we kind of reverse engineered things that I learned on Fort Carson, working with Army Community Services, working with resiliency, working with the Soldier Family Assistance Center for the Wounded Warriors. And most of the culture in our military of all branches is having brick and mortar, right? There are people technically savvy like Elijah, not technically savvy like me, but I think most of us want physical interaction. So the very first thing we did is Mr. Cimino had already acquired the building that we're in. It's a 17,000 square foot space. And we modeled it in such a way that would make it easy for military members in transition, if they needed it, veterans and their families, to come to a one-stop center to get services. My mantra is a beacon of support. My motto is no wrong door. Anybody who walks through our front door will get help.
Nice.
Whether they get it today or tomorrow, certainly not next week. Everybody knows the stories of our brothers and sisters that have completed suicide in the parking lot of the VA because they lost hope. I clearly had a vision that would never happen, that if someone was losing hope, they could come here and gain hope quickly, and that we have a staff that will embrace them. So that's kind of the culture that I'm trying to build here. I'm hoping that if anyone out there has been here, they feel the same way. So what do we do, right? When we first built Mount Carmel, it was all about supportive services. I went around to the community and people said, if you're going to help people, you got to safeguard the GI Bill. You got to make sure you counsel military members in transition and their families to make sure that universities and colleges aren't fleecing them, because everybody knows the story of maybe a young buck sergeant who comes out of the military and thinks he can live off the GI Bill with a wife and 2 kids. And everyone knows that's going to lead to disappointment. Layer on top of that, not very good study skills. It's a recipe for disaster. So what we try to do is wrap our arms around them and counsel them on, okay, here's what you're going to get. Here's what you need help with. We're partnered with many colleges and universities in that arena. We all know that 22 of our veteran brothers and sisters lose their lives to suicide a day. When you do the postmortem on suicide, 50% of them are linked to some kind of financial hardship. Although that's not the underlying cause, it's a contributing factor. We stood up a financial wellness program, and we just solidified it this year with a full-time person that actually manages that. We have 2 county VSOs in the building, which is usually important. Everybody knows that you want to make it easy, whether you're whether your rating wasn't enough or you want to get it reviewed, whether you're a Vietnam vet or current serving military member, to have somebody who cares. So having that public-private partnership in the building is critical. We have links to many housing agencies. Everybody knows that housing just provides a roof. Services help provide healing. And then unfortunately, many of our troops in transition and veterans need some kind of legal advice, normally civil advice. And we try to bring pro bono lawyers in here to give initial guidance before someone sinks dollars into purchasing a lawyer's fee.
Oh my
God.
God.
That's how it started. And then within the first year, we grew to having what I think is a fantastic transition and employment department. If anyone out there has used it, I hope you had a good experience. We are very, Elijah and I first connected on the idea of entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that whatever the passion is for a military member, veteran, or their families, we help them seek their passion. Whether they have a false understanding of what they can get out in the civilian world. We do, my team up there, mainly former non-commissioned officers. Sometimes they give a little tough love to remind people, here's what you're in for. Your resume is not quite up to par. Let's get it straight. When you go on your interviews, nobody wants to be called sir or ma'am. You've got to assimilate. So we put a lot of work into helping jump cultures.
Yeah.
Leverage the goodness of what you learned in the military, because we're all very proud of it. One of the strengths that we have here is we teach employers the goodness of what happens if someone has served 4 years, 10 years, retired, what they're going to get in that veteran. So that's transition and employment, very critical.
Real quick, Bob.
Yep.
Joe had asked, he said that it reminds me he has to call his VA lawyer, and then he says, oh, there's one available. So could you guys help with that? And then do you guys help people that may or may not be in Colorado Springs, like if they call in?
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
that's the beauty of what look at us. You could be in China for all I know, right? Having these types of comms is critical. So we'll help anyone across the country. We've spread our wings. We're connected most anywhere. A lot of people come and go from Colorado Springs because of the 5 bases. My staff is available to anyone around the country to provide advice. So we'll do that for Joe, certainly. We've expanded our supportive services. I have about 5 case managers right now that have been especially busy in 2020, helping people with immediate needs. We do food drives. We do rent assistance. In our mantra in that arena is a hand up, not a handout. Our veterans, military members want a hand up. Many of you out there don't want to ask for help.
Yes.
My mantra is, as a beacon of support, you earned it. We're here to help you. That's important. And then behavioral health. Huge challenge, more so now than ever.
Real quick, one more time. I'm not sure who you are, so when you ask a question, please put your name in there so I could say your name. But this person is saying, wait, you can help any veteran?
Yes. Any veteran, any discharge status. We actually have a partner with DU Legal that helps upgrade discharge status if it's applicable. Nice. So, my personal opinion is, less than 1% is served. Some of our great Americans made a mistake on active duty. What we're really finding out through legislation is many of those infractions in cases were a cause of undiagnosed post-traumatic stress. What our legislators are trying to do right now is, if that was the case, potentially upgrade the discharge based on the medical condition that might have been undiagnosed. So we want to help anyone that's served to get better and lead productive lives.
Thank you so much for answering that. That is the first time I heard anyone saying that they help with statuses. I remember when I began military, there were people 18, 19 making, bad choices. And the fact that you could help them with that status and then give them the help that they're looking for that they may not have been able to get is phenomenal. And we have another question from so I'm going to say this question, but real quick, someone just asked another question. Do you guys work with WTF? Go ahead and put WTF in the next comment, but WTU is what they mean. Go ahead and say what that is for me. And we're going to talk about Joe with his question here. how do people get involved with all this? Reintegration was such a hard thing to do solo. Yep. Joining others in the mission would be so much more effective than going guerrilla. Yeah.
No, great. You can contact us directly through our webpage at veteranscenter.org. That's veteranscenter.org. You can call us at 719-772-7000, and that'll get you to the front desk. And Joe, I don't know where you are, but we are at 530 Communication Circle in Colorado Springs.
Can you say that phone number one more time so I could post it in the comments?
The phone number is 719-772-7000.
Say that one more time.
719-772-7000.
Perfect. Got it.
And then the webpage is veteranscenter.org. You can get a good glimpse of what we are there. And then if you're in the area and you can come 530 Communication No S Circle.
Awesome. This is great. And okay. And then the other question was, do you guys work with, they said that's not what they meant. Do you guys work with WTU? And that would be the Wounded Warrior Transition Unit.
We have a pretty strong partnership. Normally the commanders and sergeants major of the units come here for a visit to check us out. When I was on Fort Carson as the garrison commander, we actually built the first transition center that made it easy for wounded warriors. That was one of the precursors to Mount Carmel. It made so much sense to do a one-stop shop for our wounded warriors, and that made me think that we should do something out there for our veterans. So we started that in 2009, and it's, thank God, a lot smaller because there's less in there, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
But still necessary. So yes, we work with the team there. Any wounded warrior on Fort Carson, by and large, gets pretty good service, but we're here to help. We're here to take it to the graduate level. We do a monthly course called Prep Connect 360. It's a transition course on steroids that takes what you do in TAP and really gets down to details in helping people.
That's awesome. I mean, anyone who hasn't had the pleasure to literally walk into Mount Carmel, it's unbelievable because it's a private organization and they are loaded. It's a huge building. You go in there, they have a front desk that's very attentive, very kind, and very helpful. I'm still amazed by all the things you do. It's more like, what don't you guys do? I mean,
well, if we don't do it and it's a need, we'll make it happen. We started with the great Keegan-Meyer optometry clinic. So we knew that was a need evolving from the VA. So we have an optometry clinic in-house where you get referred from the VA to go to Keegan's clinic. And it's fantastic. I'm trying to do more with wellness, not just behavioral health, but I'm trying to work with different organizations to set up a clinic here. Elijah, you saw Field of Dreams, right? Where they build the baseball field in Iowa.
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. Okay, that's homework for you.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
Kevin Costner. And the mantra in the movie, for those out there who've seen it, is build it and they will come. My mantra for Mount Carmel was build it and they will come. You know, there are a lot of technicians out there that said to me, how do you know? What's your statistics that say they will come? And I'm like, look, I don't have time for statistics. I don't have time to do an analysis. I know that this area, there's 120,000 veterans.
Yeah.
I know that they need this. I'm building it and they will come. And guess what, Elijah?
What?
We built it and they came.
Look at that.
So we've been able to touch probably 62,000 lives. Some repeat visitors. In the year of COVID, which was hugely important.
I just got to highlight that. 62,000 lives.
Yep. So in the year of COVID, it was important to me to stay open, stay serving, stay safe. So stay open. We got an exemption from the governor because of our services to stay open.
Nice.
Stay serving. We wanted to make sure that people knew that if they needed to come here in a safe manner, that they could. Stay safe. 25, probably 27,000 heartbeats have come through the door since last March, and we've had 6 cases of COVID, which means that we were able to serve and stay safe, which was personally critical to me.
Yeah, that's incredible. Sounds like like you said, you're implementing the things that you've learned while you're in the Army, because you're aggressively moving forward strategically and efficiently, and then you're keeping everybody safe at the same time.
Yeah, this year we're very proud that we, you know the mantra, in times of crisis, there are people out there that will take advantage because they're in your country. There are people out there that will do bad things, and then people out there that will rise to the occasion. I wanted to be one that rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
We started last March, and we still do it bi-weekly, a food drive. So we call it Food Fridays for our veterans and military, for those people who might be in hard times that need a little extra something. They come through in their cars, and normally we probably touch 350 families every other Friday with something, with Care and Share and other partners. We were able to, like many other nonprofits, garner public funding for rent assistance. It was pass-through dollars. So, I have the bottom line as a nonprofit. Nothing went to our bottom line. It went through us to the need. I'm a big fan. I believe that the good work that you do will garner the support necessary. The great Jay Cimino, my founder, tells me, Colonel, the more people you serve, the more money you'll get. And I laugh. I said, Jay, that's true in the car business. But I don't necessarily know in the veteran service business, the art of that, right?
Yeah.
It's an art. One would think if you do good work and help more people, then others will support you. And it's kind of proven true over the years that as our doors have been open for over 5 years, we're actually celebrating our 5th year in mid-July. The budget has gone up and the people we've served have gone up. So I'm hoping that's a positive trend. I know that if you're a wine drinker, Elijah, here's the analogy. There are people who have a lot of good wine on the shelf, and it doesn't belong there. It belongs in the glass and to be drinking, just like funding. Many organizations have funding. It doesn't belong on the shelves. It belongs out in the organizations that need it. So our goal is to educate, motivate, and inform people who have resources to put it into a good place. And in my mind's eye, this is a good place.
That's incredible. And you know what? A lot of the people who are watching, I've spoken to hundreds of the people a part of the group, and a lot of veterans aspire to start a nonprofit, or they have a nonprofit. And I would say just about every single one that I speak to is getting exhausted trying to get funding. And they're probably at the stage of, like, they may have had their 501(c) for like 6 months to a year, and they don't even know how to get funding at all. What would you say to that person to help them?
Well, what I would say to anybody with passion is, I have a 501(c)(3). We've gone to the School of Hard Knocks, and I've done it in the past. Before you start your own 501(c)(3), join me. Tell me what your passion is. Tuck in with me for a year. I'll help you get started, whatever it is you're doing. You get to sample the waters. You get the benefit of my staff to help you. We work together, and I'm just a year. There's 365 days in a year except leap year, but we know that that's a pretty good time to make a decision. So I've encouraged several smaller organizations to come in, establish a program, work with us, and then after a year, if you still want to do your own 501(c)(3), go ahead. Or if you want to stay with me and be a partner, do that too. But I offer that to anybody that has passion with something important, service dogs, job placement, that I'll work with them to help them out.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, I didn't even know that. So you guys heard it. If you have a 501(c)(3) or you're thinking about starting one, go ahead and reach out to them. You can call them at 719-772-7000. This is Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center. You can also go to veteranscenter.org to check them out more. And if you're in the Springs, you can go to 530 Communication Circle. So there were some things that you said that really stood out to me. And I really want to highlight it because some people are also entrepreneurs, or some people are maybe out of the military and they've had a job for about a year and they're thinking about going on an adventure, like you said. It sounds like even you had to make a leap of faith. You would think that someone who served in the Army for 29 years, that it would not have been a scary decision at all. But what would you say to someone who's at that, they feel like they have this really big calling, they really want to help people, but they're not really sure if it's going to work out. They don't have that mindset that you have, which is build it and they will come. What would you say to that person who's thinking about taking the leap of faith, but they're scared?
Well, passion without resources is just passion. So I would say start with passion, do your homework. I spent a long time aligning partners before I dove in and said we're in the market for real.
Mm-hmm.
Many people make the mistake of trying to raise funds before they have anything.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is some of it's luck, right? You got to get with the right people, but people, by and large, when it comes to the service business, don't want to fund an idea. Mm-hmm. They want to fund something that they can see. Yeah. So my advice to anybody is start small, build it. Don't go too big too soon. Big ideas sound good, but people aren't going to throw dollars at it. They want to see a pilot. They want you to show proof of efficacy that something worked. You know, I've been giving this advice to people for years when they have big ideas. Mm-hmm. I said, you gotta start small and build, because you're gonna waste. You know, just like anything else in the military, you got to have a strategic plan. You've got to be operationally connected, and you've got to tactically deliver. Same thing in the nonprofit world. You got to do it all simultaneously. During COVID, when we were working hard to take care of the most needy, we spent 6 months developing a strategic plan simultaneously. So you've got to be agile to do well.
Agile to do well. I love that. That's a big pro tip right there. And I also want to say to someone, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. I think this is a trend. I would say going through it, it's almost like gaining a badge of honor. It's like when you're starting a business, there's a lot of people who take it personal because your family may not be supportive of you right away. Your friends might not, you say your idea to them and it might discourage you. So I would say to anyone that's experiencing that also too, it's just like Bob just said, people are so numb in the ears to hearing people come up with ideas. And so especially if someone has a nonprofit and they're looking for funding, it's a risk to give that organization money as well. So just like Bob said, what you have in the beginning is your passion. So I definitely use that passion and build something that's making an impact. And slowly but surely, people will see that and will support you. And if not after that, I'm sure they will support you as far as monetizing it. Because when you're working hard, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, you're grinding, you're getting results for people. People's lives are changing. Oftentimes, somebody notices and they're willing to give you a helping hand. So,
Elijah, I say think big, act small. Think big, act small. Think of the big idea, act.
Nice. What would be an example of acting small?
Well, like if say you wanted to start a service dog kennel, right?
Yeah.
You know that your vision is to have 100 clients, and it's going to take 5 years to get there.
Yeah.
You got to start with 1, 2.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're building the big idea, you've got to prove that you have quality with clients that will then turn around and say, I will give you a great testimony. I'll give you a few dollars. I'll connect you to somebody.
Yeah.
I've worked with many great organizations that want to do the apps, apps to help troops.
Yeah.
And it's a big idea, but you've got to start small in order to build the big idea.
Yeah. Wow. That's profound information as well. That's the hard part for a lot of people. This was totally incredible. I like to keep these short because I know there's one person out there who's going to be looking at the time and they're going to be more inclined to watch it when they see that it's so short. And I think we have so much good information in such a packed video. Bob, what is one thing that you would leave them with to help anyone, whether they're first, before we even do that, if you're someone who's a veteran or transitioning, please reach out to Mount Carmel for any services that you need. They're amazing. And then also tell people about it. If you're not transitioning, but other veterans are doing that, definitely reach out to them. I put their information in the chat. Other than that, Bob, do you have any like takeaways that you could give them before we split out?
Certainly. Take care of yourself and your family.
Mhm.
Never forget to make sure you're okay and your family's okay. Um, Exercise your passion. Circle yourself with people that you trust and build from there. That's the most important thing. Find people you trust and you can confide in, and they will help you, and then your sphere will grow. But never forget, you got to take care of yourself, especially during transition. You've got to find people that you trust that will work with you, and don't overextend. There'll be road bumps. There'll be naysayers. There'll be people out there that, there's competition. Believe it or not, in our military culture and our veteran culture, there are people who may not want to see you succeed. I would say ignore the white noise, focus on the goodness, and don't get distracted by naysayers. If you have a positive message and a positive project, focus on the positive and knock down the hurdles. I had to do it, so that's some advice.
That was amazing advice because that was so foundational. You know, my wife does a lot of gardening, and she talks about how like it all depends on like the initial conditions, like when you first plant it, having that nice soil. So when you were saying that, I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, if they have that nice foundation, they're going to be set for success. And most of the time when you ask somebody something like that, they talk more about the fruits at the end of the tree. So I think it was really profound that you spoke about the foundational key things. That's awesome. Well, you all have it here with the humble retired Colonel Bob McLaughlin. I'm very honored to have you here on Vet Boss. I hope to do another one of these sometime. And again, if anyone needs help, please reach out to them. After this live, I'm going to go ahead and put the information in the comments under the video in the group. We got the information on the Vet Boss page and on our YouTube channel that we're building very newly. So thanks again, and we'll see you all next time. We're out.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Thanks, Elijah.
My pleasure.